Good afternoon. This is a regular meeting of the Cameron County Commissioners Court, October the 16th, Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. As we do all meetings, we will start off with an invocation by Chuck Sherrow of St. Paul's Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag and the Texas flag. And I would like to ask Manuel Villarreal to lead us in both pledges when the time comes. Chuck?
For order and for the decisions that will be made today. I pray that your grace and your wisdom would be on every participant. And thank you, Lord, that you ordain government to bring order and justice into our communities. We pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Chuck.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We honor the Texas flag.
We'll get it right one day.
Stutter and splutter.
All right. Well, go ahead and stay up there, Manuel. First item on the agenda is public comments, and you've signed up to make a public comment regarding the health fair.
Yes, I wanted to remind, thank you, Judge and Commissioners. I wanted to remind everybody that we have our health fair. Thursday, we'll have it at the San Benito Annex, and then Friday, we'll have it at the Judicial Room, at the Central Jury Room in the Judicial Building. And I want to be sure that the administrators, the directors, and supervisors remind their employees, because we're going to have the free flu shots and all that. And I was very surprised to see that the health community in Harlingen is having a health fair at TSDC on Friday also. They're going to be having free flu shots. So it's actually very important. Right now is the time to get your flu shot, to get your pneumonia shots, and all the shots, because we don't know what the winter's going to be like, but I see a lot of allergies and things like that. So I just wanted to remind everybody that we have our health fair.
Thank you, Manuel.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to make a comment that did not or could not sign up? All right. Item 2, presentation of fourth quarter report for the International Bridge System. David?
Judge, Commissioners, this is our fourth quarter report for this year, final report for the bridge system. You should have a copy before you. The first tab is the Gateway Bridge. Bridge crossings at the bridge totaled 1 million for the fourth quarter, about an 8% decrease over this time last year. As far as revenues for this bridge, revenues at the Gateway Bridge totaled about 1.5 million, and that was about $117,377, or 7% less than what we had in revenues last year. Pedestrian crossings for this quarter also decreased by about 8%. Moving on to the Free Trade Bridge. Bridge crossings at the Free Trade Bridge totaled 191,093. We had about a 1% decrease over this period last year. Our revenues for this period totaled $608,000, which was a 4% increase, roughly about $25,000 or so. Our Veterans Bridge, which is our main commercial bridge, had 558,000 crossings this quarter, which was a 12% decrease. Roughly 73,546 vehicles. Our commercial traffic did not change. We had about a 0% change in that category, but our auto pedestrian traffic was a 13% decrease. Revenues at the at the Veterans Bridge totaled over $2 million, which was about 4% decrease this time last year. You will see that in the, commercial traffic, we had a little bit of a gain, about 9%. Customers using our ABI system this quarter totaled 54,000, representing a 9% increase. During this quarter, Mexican Customs did not allow commercial traffic through our bridges, on 3 separate occasions because of Mexican holidays. So our vehicle traffic crossings were down about 8%, or revenues were down about 8%. And I'll entertain any questions if anybody has any questions.
David, I know that I've had the opportunity, and maybe the rest of us have also, to talk to some of the other bridge owners and operators all along the border from here to San Diego, California. And a lot of them are telling me that they're also seeing decreases in traffic, various and different reasons is what they're saying. Some of it has to do apparently with the traffic congestion and the time getting back across the river, that they feel like that's stopping. Like myself, I don't go across the river as often as perhaps I used to for dinner with my wife, because we don't want to get caught coming back and having a long wait time coming back. And I know there's a lot of concern about that and wait times with Border Trade Alliance and with other entities that deal with the border issues. Has anyone done any real hard look at what might be created come next January, the end of January, when passports or some type of real ID is going to be required to get into the United States by United States citizens? Is that, people I'm talking to just in general are saying they feel like that's going to impact the bridge crossings tremendously.
Yeah, I think that's going to have a much more tremendous impact than it's having now, and I don't think there's been any real serious thought and look into how that's going to impact our traffic. As it is right now, we're having wait times in the hours of 1 to 2 hours, and so come January, if that deadline is not extended, we're going to probably see either the same or more traffic time.
I know some of the states, Washington State and a couple others, have been working with the federal government to work on an improved driver's license ID, which would fit some of the federal guidelines to make it an ID that is recognized by the federal government as being a appropriate document for citizenship, really putting chips in them, basically. And I know that some of the federal agencies that are working on these are also talking with the state of Texas. Is that going along? Do you know how that might be going along as far as that discussion? Because if we can get better IDs that are not as expensive as passports, we may all be able to use the bridge more and create more traffic, or at least not lose as much traffic.
I know Pete's been working on that at the BTA and the Texas Border Coalition. I think you might have some.
Yeah, the option on the passport card, that's still on the table, and that'll be a much more quicker way to get the card as opposed to the passport itself, and a lot less expensive. So it's still on the table. There's no decision has been made, but I think between now and January, we need a real big push by all the southwest border and make sure that if there's not going to be a time extension, that at least they approve the passport card and make it a lot easier for the public to access that card, and like I said, more importantly, a lot less expensive than what a passport would cost.
Well, obviously our concerns on easing the traffic problems of the bridge has to do with our direct bottom line, because the monies that we generate off the bridges certainly goes into our funds and helps us to operate the county as it does other entities up and down the border, or up the border. We're as far down the border as we get.
We had an opportunity to meet with Customs last week, and I know the Hidalgo mayor brought up the issue, and they're having the same problems up, as we're having.
Thank you. Do I hear any further discussion? Do I hear a motion to acknowledge
Motion to acknowledge report.
the bridge system report, moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Benavides. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Item 3, presentation of updates on mental health task force by Rosie Cavazos, Vice Chair, and subcommittees, immediate needs, education, referrals, recruitment and retention, and legislative priorities.
Judge, while Rosie's passing this out, I want to express my deep feelings about this committee. It has worked extremely well and very hard in trying to address the issues of psychiatric care in Cameron County and addressing the problems that we have by not having the appropriate psychiatric care that we should be having in the county. They worked hard. They've accomplished a lot in a very short period of time, and Rosie and some of the other subcommittee chairs are going to explain this to us, and I'm really glad to have them here with us this evening.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Judge and Commissioners. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Rosie Cavazos, and I'm here representing the Cameron County Mental Health Task Force. I'm going to give you a little bit of history, how we got started, and then I'm going to introduce the different subcommittees that we have. Basically, the way the Mental Health Task Force got started was in December 2007, when a little gentleman who was a mayor here in Brownsville, who is Marshall Vickers. Mr. Vickers addressed the commissioners and the judge that there was a problem with mental health, specifically in the Cameron County. And he got listened to, and he came to the commissioners' court, and they went ahead and accepted to form a Cameron County Mental Health Task Force. That was in December 2007. Then in April, Then in April 2007, subcommittees were formed, which were the legislature, the Educational Referral Committee, the Recruitment Retention Providers Committee, and the Immediate Needs Crisis Committee. Commissioner Wood is the chairman, and I am the co-chairman. We have been meeting every month, and the subcommittees meet at different facilities, and they've elected chairmen. I would like Mr. Vickers to give a few comments.
Good afternoon, Judge and Commissioners. Indeed, it's a heartwarming privilege for me to have this opportunity to present with our Vice Chairman and Chairman John Wood appreciation to the support that we have had since December the 11th of last year. We've had meetings after meetings. Our committee started off with some 80 members of this community. And I alerted the court, the judge, and the mayor of the city, and the city commissioners as to the crisis situation that existed in Cameron County and Brownsville in particular. Ever since that time, Commissioner John Wood has done yeoman work in keeping together in our meetings each month that enabled us to come forward with a very positive report to you all today. As a result of this committee's formation, you saw Valley Baptist Health Hospital open up the old Valley Regional Hospital of 38 beds for mental patients on Ted Hunt Boulevard. As the last report that I had, they already have 18 patients in there out of 37 beds from the county. There's a need for more and more beds. Today I got disturbing news when I got here that they had closed Dolly Vincent Hospital in San Benito today. This creates another crisis for this county. We must take a positive look at this overall mental health and positive health program. I noticed on your agenda item 10, 11, and 12, you're going to enter into some kind of a contractual agreement with state agencies. And I'm hopeful that it will give us some input as to the problems we have. You know, as a result of the effort that I put forward over a year ago, we have now a psychiatric doctor that has opened an office in Brownsville. And he's bringing in an additional psychiatric doctor with him where he can have services available 4 days out of the week here. And Rosie's going to pass out to you the announcement of Dr. Jose Igoa, who's basically from McAllen. But he recognized the need for this community in Cameron County. This is the beginning. The hospital serves one segment of our community's problems. What we need is more independent psychiatric doctors with an open office where patients can go there for treatment. They cannot go to the hospital that we just saw open on the 16th of last month. And once again, here we are, less than a month away, and they already have 18 patients. So we've got a situation in this community that's going to get worse. With the returning veterans from all of the military service, you're going to see an influx of need for the veterans. So I say to you, let's keep on target, and let's keep moving ahead. John, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. This Dr. Igoa that I gave you his information a few minutes ago through Sophie, he was kind enough to come and visit my wife at home, making a house call. Can you imagine that, as busy as he is? Because he recognized the condition that exists and her need for various medications that only psychiatric doctors can prescribe. So with all of these things and this wonderful committee that we've got, I can't say enough beautiful things for each member of this committee because they have really trudged and worked hard. It's a privilege to be here before you today, but the awareness is still here. The crisis is still before us, Judge. Let's don't sweep it under the rug. Let's keep going forward, John, and thank you so much.
Our Legislature Committee Chairman, Gloria Casas.
Well, I told Commissioner Tamayo we have to stop meeting like this. I was here a couple of weeks ago thanking you for your support and your opportunity. May I have my notes? Oh, I have my notes. Okay, no, that's fine. Thanking you for your interest and support in all the endeavors that we have in the community. And I also want to thank Commissioner Woods for taking the leadership in this important issue that we have here in Cameron County. Because not only, Brownsville is going through this crisis, it's really the whole Cameron County. We do have a lot of need. And I'm happy to report that the Legislative Committee has been quite active. We have met on several occasions. Chris Valadez is our chairperson, and he asked me to present in his behalf. I want to report to you that we had the opportunity to meet with State Representative Eddie Lucio Jr., and he really, or is he what, third? The third, okay. And he was very, very positive. He shared with us some of the initiatives he already has. He listened to some of the things that we recommended. And so we're going to continue working with him to develop policy that will address the needs that we have here in this county. So we are going to work at the development of a local psychiatric residency program through RAC, and we're going to develop a strong community education program to recognize the signs of lack of behavioral wellness, and develop a centralized database on incidents that may be related to the lack of behavioral wellness in Cameron County. We want to make sure that the legislators have easy access to these statistics when they're in Austin trying to advocate for us. So we're working very hard, and like Rosie mentioned, we have met often, a lot of times over and Chris teases me all the time, or a bologna sandwich at noon. We just come and we sit down and we talk and just put ideas, and it has been very, very productive. And so I want to thank you, and I want to thank Chris. I don't know that he's here, but I really want to thank him for his leadership, and I want to thank Commissioner Woods for really getting us together to address this important issue. So thank you.
Now we have a report on education, and this will be by Maria Rousset.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and good afternoon, Deb. We're here to present you want to pass it? I'll keep it. We're here to present the resource list that we prepared We got together and we got public information from different sites. And we found out that some of that information that was given to our county was not up to date, and some of it was not leading to the information that was needed by somebody trying to help a person with mental health needs. So we got together, we decided on a template, and we we put this list together. Since the inception, we've had 4 different versions of it, with different changes and different addresses added and phone numbers changed and deletions of entities that are no longer in our county. I was just noticing when Mr. Vickers was talking, we did put the doctor that he mentioned, and it does have the correct address, so we are on the ball. And we want to thank Commissioner Wood for putting this on the website. And also our partner agencies are putting this list also on their websites. I saw it today in the Tropical Health website, Tropical MHMR. I also know that you have it here in the Commissioner's Court website on Cameron County. And we're hoping to put it in as many places as possible. I was talking to our chairperson, Selma Isnaga, and she's working on having it put on the college civic engagement website. So once we do that, it'll be just a matter of updating it with the current information or adding new resources as they come to our community. This is a very helpful tool, I've been told by many of the practitioners. So I present it to you with that.
Thank you.
And I thank you all for giving us this opportunity to do this. Thank you.
I wanted to add to that I have met with Cameron County, the person that's in charge of disasters, and they were talking about how important this is going to be to them whenever there's storms or hurricanes and people need attention to get to anywhere. So hopefully it's on the Cameron County website, and I have been talking to veterans, and they're putting it into their website, and the university already has it on the website. It's going to be kept up at the university, updated as we go along. Now we have our recruitment, which is Ms. Hunter, Ruth Hunter.
Good afternoon. You've heard from several of the people that I have been working with over the last year, and it's been my pleasure to be a part of this task force. I came and spoke to this court last December and encouraged you to vote to establish this task force, and was then asked to serve on it. That has been my pleasure. I am very excited about the progress that's been made. The document that I have just handed you is the first printed document to come out of our subcommittee. When the committees first got together, one of the things we realized was that we didn't even have a common language among the task force at large. Some of us knew about specialties, some of us knew all the acronyms, some of us knew what degrees were required for what positions, and some of us just knew we needed help. And so we met first and discussed that before we could decide what we needed to recruit, we needed to know what the picture should look like. It was our firm belief, and we maintain this belief, that there is no one solution, no one thing that will solve this problem. It has to be a formulated plan to bring services that will complement each other. We are thrilled as well that Dr. Igoa is here. We are happy as can be that the psychiatric hospital has opened, and those were much needed services. But what we have put together here is a list of what is needed to have a comprehensive approach to mental health in our area. The first 5 pages deal basically with different type of structures for different types of communities and and rural areas and different settings. And then it talks about mental health providers and actually gives us a definition of what each one is. Because when people were talking about, for example, occupational therapists and their role in mental health, there are a lot of people on that task force that didn't have a clue how that tied together. So this document addresses that, and it tells you what each person does and how each person is a piece of the puzzle to form this comprehensive approach to mental health. If you will look at page 4, there's principles for organization of services, and we feel that these are all very important. Mr. Vickers alluded to the fact that there are services available in our area, yes, but they are available until just recently to only certain segments of our population. They serve people who have certain types of disorders, or they serve people who have certain levels of income. And so what we've tried to do is put together something that would serve all the needs of all the people who reside in this county. The last 2 pages are appendix. We put the next to the last page there because I'm just one of those people who cannot ever remember what all those acronyms stand for, so there's a list. And it tells you which degree is needed to have which license, and then it tells what those people do and what the meaning of their position is. And the very last page is a flow chart as we see what we would like to see. We've worked together with some of the other subcommittees. We've met with the Immediate Needs and the Crisis Committee. Our next step is to integrate what is on this form with what you have been given by the Education Committee, the chart of all the services. We want to see what we need and what we have and make a chart showing where the gaps are. And once we have that, which we hope to be finished with in the next 2 or 3 months, once we have that, then we have a real picture of what this county needs to be able to provide mental health services to all the people who reside here. Thank you.
I am on the Immediate Needs Committee, and we meet more than one time during the month. And one of our immediate needs was to get something in Cameron County as soon as possible. So we feel that we've accomplished a lot because we had different agencies to come to our meetings, and from that, within 6 months, we had a behavior inpatient facility open. In fact, in November, another psychiatrist will be coming to the facility, Valley Baptist Medical Center Behavior Facility in Bronzeville. One of the things that we did work very hard on was an RFP, which we worked together with Cameron County, Yvette Salinas. And on that RFP that we did for the tobacco fund from the hospital district was for a recruitment fee. We have been working closely with Rio Grande State Center, where they have been advertising for 5 years to get a psychiatrist and have been unsuccessful. They have put together a package which they would pay to get the psychiatrist here. We are willing to hire the psychiatrist and give him some time to devote time to the public. The only problem that we have right now is that we have a recruitment fee of $16,000, and we are a nonprofit mental health task force. So we are left right now with we need $16,000 to be able to pay for the recruitment fee, but we already have a package prepared together with Rio Grande State Center. As we go along, we will continue to see how we can put that together to make sure that we complete that package. If there's any questions, the only thing I would like for you to acknowledge is that these subcommittees have never been really acknowledged by the Commissioners Court, and I did give you their names on there, the names of the subcommittees. So they, the only thing that was acknowledged that a Commissioners Court appoint a mental health task force, but they really have never been acknowledged. And like I said, we work very, very hard, but I think we've come a long ways. And what we found out that this is a national problem. It's not a Cameron County problem. It's a national problem. And we've been told that we are ahead of everybody else. So I'm very happy about that.
Thank you, Rosie. Well, let's go ahead and acknowledge them now. Okay.
As you all can see, Judge and Commissioners, obviously this committee, the makeup of it and the people that participate in it, would have been hard to hold back, even if someone wanted to, because they're really into making a difference in the community, having to do with the psychiatric care that is so desperately needed in our community. And Sandra Maxwell just came in. She serves on the committee, and I think John Young needs to be recognized as being here today. I appreciate everything y'all do, and I know that the commissioner and the judge do.
Well, I tell you, Commissioner Wood, thank you so much for your, for your service in this, and I think I agree with Mayor Vickers. It was a yeoman's job, but let's go ahead and do it formally and acknowledge everybody that's here, okay? The Legislative Committee, I'm going to name them as you presented them here. Gloria Casas, thank you, Gloria. B.B. Crooks, Paul Hemphill, Maria Rosette, Michael Salceda, Chris Valadez, Lira Flores, Ellen Snodgrass. The Education Referrals Committee, Selma Isnaga, Manuel Samarripa, Aida Garcia, again, Maria Rosette, Rosie Cavazos, Teresa Brooks, Servando Barrera, Lucy Garcia, and Gloria Casas. Recruitment Retention Providers Committee, Ruth Hunter, Sonia, it should be Keeble, right?
Yes.
Okay, Sonia Keeble, Rebecca Rasco, Mocael Salceda, Lira Flores, Ricardo Irazari, Matthew Blum, John Young, Arturo Farias, Elvira Ramos, and Shirley Wells. Immediate Needs Crisis Committee, Rosie Cavazos, Lieutenant Danny Huerta, Lucy Garcia, B.B. Crooks, Margot Vickers, Armando Trevino, Teresa Brooks, Sandra Maxwell, Commissioner Wood, Jaime Flores, Sonia Keeble, and Blas Ortiz. Chairman of the committee was Commissioner John Wood, as we've identified already, and co-chair was Rosie Cavazos. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will tell you, Rosie, that sorry to hear about Dolly Vincent Hospital, but I think that as we go through these months and years, what we have found is that there's just such a great need for anything having to do with health care, whether we're talking about indigent health care, whether we're talking about cancer awareness, whether we're talking about domestic violence, whether we're talking about diabetes, heart disease. I mean, there's just such a great need in this community, and as you well put it, nationwide. And there's just not enough money, unfortunately. And I think y'all need to develop like your own little dealie here, pick out a nice color. But I think it's important that you continue with this task force. I'd like to see it continue, and just maybe not meet monthly, but at least quarterly, so you don't lose sight of each other and lose sight of this important endeavor. So again, thank you all very much, Commissioner. Thank you so much for heading this thing up, and it's not over yet. Sandra, how are you?
The only thing I might add, Judge, if we didn't meet monthly, there'd probably be a riot, because they're really all engaged in this and really wanting to get things done. So we've got a lot of work left ahead of us to do and a lot of things to take care of. And I don't think any member at all is complaining about, how often we do meet. And, the subcommittees meet even more often than monthly, but we have excellent monthly meetings. They're open to the public. They're usually on the first floor here in the building, and everyone's welcome to attend.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge the presentation and the updates? Moved by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Tamayo. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Consent items. Are there any items that any member of the court wish to discuss separately? And travel as well. Item 17 will be pulled out. Go ahead. Any other ones? All right, do I hear a motion to approve all consent items 4 through 22A and travel items 23A through 23Q, with the exception of item 17 that will be pulled out to discuss separately?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Benavides.
Second.
Do I have a second by Commissioner Tamayo? Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Gatsa. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carried. To discuss four items. Item A, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning a claim of Timothy R. Floyd for discussion and possible settlement pursuant to Code Section 551.0711A and B. Item B, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning a claim of Joe R. Jones, Inc. contract on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter pursuant to Code Section 551.0711A and 2. Item C, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning Cameron County versus BFI Waste Collection and others, cause number 2005-073905-A, BFI Waste Services of Texas, LP, and Waste Management of Texas, Inc. versus County of Cameron in the 13th Court of Appeals, Corpus Christi, Texas, cause number 13-06-623-CV, and BFI Waste Services of Texas, LP versus County of Cameron, and Red River Service Corporation of Texas, Inc., case number B05279, for discussion of status and pursuant to Code Section 551.0711A and B. Lastly, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning Red River Solid Waste Collection Contract about issue of noncompliance or of default and possible litigation on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter pursuant to Code Section 551.071A and 2. Moved by Commissioner Gatsa.
Second.
Do I have a second by Commissioner Benavides? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are out of executive session. Item A, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning claim of Timothy R. Floyd. That item was not discussed. Do I hear a motion to table?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Gatsa. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item B, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning a claim of Joe R. Jones, Inc. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge the report of counsel?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Benavides. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Tamayo. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item C, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning Cameron County versus BFI Waste Collection and others. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge report of counsel?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Benavides. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item D, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning Red River Solid Waste Collection Contract. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge report of counsel? Moved by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Gatsa. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries.
Notice my abstention on 24C and D.
And please also note that Commissioner Tamayo was not present at those deliberations. Item 17, consideration and authorization to utilize Houston Galveston Council of Governments HG8AC Interlocal Cooperative Purchasing Agreement for wireless, cellular, mobile, broadband, wireless, email, GPS, field force applications, and IP services.
Judge, I asked for this item to be pulled out because I think it's important that we get a little briefing in regards to
I think that's a good idea.
the opportunity of
to save
saving
some
the
money.
county some money.
That's right. So, Mike, you've got 4 minutes to tell us how much you're going to save us, all right?
Judge, Commissioners, you have a handout before you, and we've been working with Robert Hahn here with Sprint. Come on up, Robert. Give me a hand. Thank you. We've been spending several months on this project to try and see if we could save the county some money, and we've been with DIR, Department of Information Resources, and we were able to find a Houston Galveston Area Council of Governments interlocal cooperative purchasing agreement. And in the HGAC plan, we're able to actually take the phones and split them in an effort to try and reduce our costs by taking 110 phones, putting them into a pool, and the remainder of the phones to share in that pool, but to be utilized at a lower monthly cost to the county. What this should mean to the county as far as realizing cost savings, we should be able to save approximately $42,000 a year in cell phone costs. These phones would also allow us to utilize the phones in both the Nextel walkie-talkie mode as well as the Sprint cell phone mode. And I'd like Robert to share a little on that so that you have a feel for the phones.
Very good.
Good evening, Judge, Commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to come up and tell you guys a little bit more about what we're doing. There's a huge effort being made with Cameron County, Hidalgo County, most of the cities down in the valley as well to become interoperable. And Judge, I know you're very aware of what we're doing on the interoperability front. But basically, interoperability is the ability for agencies and communities to communicate across jurisdictions, especially in times of an emergency. Currently, right now, about 95% of the entities that we consider public sector, being federal, state, local government, schools, etc., utilize our services. So now that we've merged with Nextel, that gives us the opportunity to go back and re-examine everybody's platform and make sure that you guys are not only utilizing our services and saving money, but utilizing the correct kind of technology that will benefit you the most, especially in the case of an emergency situation like a hurricane or, you know, active terrorism or something like that. So with that mindset in mind, I've been meeting with Mike and with Naomi and several department heads and whatnot across the county to analyze your needs and figure out how we could get from where you were, which was spending about $14,000 a month on average, to where we want to be now, which is getting completely interoperable, standardizing your wireless platform, enabling other departments, should you guys decide to use other things like GPS that can give the county a greater return on investment with your wireless platform, and at the same time reducing costs in a significant manner to the tune of about $42,000 a year. So by utilizing the new platform, you guys will be interoperable. Your nights and weekends will start 2 hours earlier. You guys will have access to Nextel Direct Connect on the same Sprint phones altogether, so you won't have to carry, you know, multiple devices, and also have off-network capability if you need to.
Thank you.
Well, I want to thank both of you because I know we spent quite a bit of time in my office because I had a lot of questions, mainly because of my ignorance in exactly how this is going to work. And the concern I had, Judge, is that the Sprint phones that our warehouse guys were using were not working in a lot of areas in Precinct 4, but you explained how this would be taken care of. That was my main concern, and I thoroughly understood after our discussion. So I thank both of you for the time you gave me in answering those questions.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Sorry. Thank you, Judge. I appreciate Mike coming and explaining the big one to me, and you just handed this out. And I see at the bottom of this sheet you just handed out, Mike, that there's optional services. One of them is unlimited group walkie-talkie service of $773 per month per phone. Is that not the same thing as Direct Connect walkie-talkie, unlimited mobile-to-mobile, et cetera, that was in the plan already that created the savings that you're talking about?
No. I'll let Robert explain to you those optional features, and they're not included in the plan. Now, we don't currently have either one of those features in our current plan either, but I'll let him explain to you what the group walkie-talkie actually does as far as functionality.
As opposed to Direct Connect walkie-talkie.
Right.
Well, Commissioner, we have, right now you guys have cell phones, and when you talk to each other, it's considered mobile-to-mobile. By utilizing the new handsets, you will have access to Direct Connect, which is the Nextel walkie-talkie feature. You've probably seen it on TV. And that's a one-to-one form of communication that works nationwide. So your plan works nationwide. We also have the availability for you to use that same form of communication internationally, like in Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, Canada, etc. In addition to that, we have two other forms of Direct Connect communication. One of them is called Group Walkie-Talkie or Group Talk or Group Direct Connect, depending on who you're talking to. In essence, that gives a user the ability to talk from one to many. So in other words, if I've got a department that has 20 staff members that I need to communicate with in an instant. With the push of a button, I can create a talk group out of my contacts and hit my walkie-talkie button and talk to them all within about a second without them having to answer their phone, or anything like that.
It's like 10-way calling or something
It's
like
like,
that.
it was like 20-way calling.
But that's not
with the new phones, you can set up 25 different talk groups with up to 20 different people in each one. And
But this is not included in the...
that's included as an option, but it's not something you guys are, we're talking about subscribing to, because quite frankly, not everyone needs that in the
Right.
county.
That's
Maybe
what I was-
PD or somebody like that would be a good fit for that, but unless you have a routine need to utilize that service, there's no sense, in you guys paying for it.
I can see a few people, perhaps in the sheriff's department, or perhaps someone like Pete Sepulveda, that need to talk to several people or something, but not in general, okay? Yes.
And that's an option. You can set up one of those groups if it's needed
Can do it.
by whatever is set up, right?
Yes, absolutely. Right now, currently, if you have a phone that has group talk capability, you can use it on a pay-as-you-go basis. In the event that the court decides we don't want that service to be available, we can put a restriction on that to where users, typically, in my experience, most users never even use it unless it's something that they really need to, in which case we'd want to make sure that they were on the appropriate rate plan, which is the unlimited plan. Same thing with the text messaging.
Okay. And you mentioned text messages, and that's another issue, because I know that some of our folks in the county do use text messaging extensively.
Well, right now, for the last couple months, NOMI started to look at the bills for text messaging. Some folks didn't have text message plans, and they were text messaging. And so the auditors made a decision to go ahead and just block text messaging across the whole county and really see who needed to use it. And what they found was not as many people are actually using text as maybe for business purposes as originally thought. And, they were all advised to come before the Commissioners Court, explain why they needed it, and leave that up to you guys to decide.
I think something you said was quite interesting, in that the auditor made the decision to stop it. That's kind of interesting to me, just as a sidebar.
Most of the people that are doing the text are using the PDAs for text purposes, which would be the Model Q device, which is also included in the plan as a PDA option.
I think that decision was made in an effort to combat overages from people who were doing a significant amount of texting but didn't have a text message plan assigned to their phone. So, at 20 cents a message, that can kind of add up after a little while.
But I didn't know we had any text messages aside from people that had PDAs set up for countywide text messaging.
I'm not familiar with it
Well,
either.
currently you don't.
We don't, right?
Currently you don't, and currently all of those users are blocked. The only ones that have that access are PDA.
The PDA users.
Exactly.
I just wanted to make sure and hear from you all, because when I visited with you, I thought it was nice that we were going to get a better quality product for less cost to the county. And
Do you mind sharing with the court how you can save additional money for the county by the way you structured the PDAs in lieu of the air cards for several operations?
Oh, sure. Okay. What Mike is talking about is, again, to get everybody interoperable, we don't have a PDA right now that has high-speed internet and walkie-talkie service. That's something hopefully that's going to come down the road. So what we're proposing is that everybody in the county that has a Cameron County cell phone carries a IC402, which is a standard clamshell flip phone that has an Nextel walkie-talkie built into it. It uses the Sprint cell phone service, but it uses the IDEN, the Nextel Direct Connect service. For the PDA users, what we'll do is we'll take the voice service off, put that on the new phone, and leave their email service on their PDA, in effect making it a data-only device, or a little portable computer that they can carry around with them. That gives them several benefits. One, increased battery life. They've got two devices to do their communicating with, and the batteries last a significant amount of time longer. Second, the user can then tether that device to their laptop or to their computer and use it as a modem, like one of our mobile broadband cards, which I think Commissioner Benavidez had expressed interest in that, when you don't want to have to, when you have to read an email, say for example, and you see the email, you see, oh, there's an attachment on there, maybe I need to edit that document or something like that. Well, you can hook your PDA up to your laptop, or even use it via Bluetooth connection if your laptop has Bluetooth on it, and use it as an air card. So in essence, instead of a user having a phone, a PDA, and an air card, that user could then have a phone and a PDA, which would save the county money.
All right.
I know it gets complicated.
Any other questions?
Yeah, what area are we talking about? Or maybe this is what we currently have. Let me see here. You call controlled coverage areas, where there's a PCS controlled coverage area. We're outside that area, and it's 50 cents per minute roam, plus a possible 25% minute long distance. Currently, we're paying that, and we'll continue that.
That's an excellent question. Right now, most of the phones that the county has do not roam anyway. They are PCS-only phones. They work on the 1900 megahertz spectrum without getting too technical. Your Sprint core digital network, okay? The areas that Commissioner Tamayo was speaking about, where they were having some issues with getting cell phone service and whatnot, are covered by the Nextel network. So in those areas, the users now would have access to their walkie-talkie service, and then when they got back in Sprint core coverage area, they would, of course, be able to use their cell phone as well. And since everybody is going to have walkie-talkie, that's going to be an excellent backup form of communication. And you don't have to worry about roaming, because it's two core digital networks, and there's no roaming. It's all built in, with the plan and everything.
Move to approve.
Second?
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 26, budget amendments, line item transfers under salary schedules.
Judge and Commissioners, there were included in your packet some line item transfers, and then also setting up some budgets for various grants, and then the salary schedules that pertain to those particular grants. If you have any questions into any of the specific items, I'd be glad to address them.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Benavides. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 27, approval of claims. In your packet, some other additional claims were passed out. Any questions regarding claims? Do I hear a motion to approve claims?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa. Second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion or abstentions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 28, approval of minutes for September the 18th, 2007. Have the court members had the opportunity to review the minutes for that day?
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 29, consideration approval to transfer $9,636 from slot number 5 to 15180 Jail Infirmary, slot number 1. Who's going to address that issue? Just a couple of things I want to, real quickly, in terms of percentage increase, what percentage are we increasing this individual's salary?
He went from 60,000, that's his current salary right now.
Okay, so you're raising it by about 13%?
Yes, sir.
To 9,000? And you're doing this why?
Well, I'll let Mike explain and he'll elaborate a
Okay.
bit on that.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Hey, Mike.
How y'all doing? My assistant administrator resigned. She moved down with her husband. He's in the service. And when we created that position, it was with the intention of rebuilding the Federal Detention Division and bringing the federal inmates back. And she wore a lot of hats back when we were putting this together. When she left, we just hired an entry-level person just to assume certain amount of responsibilities and pass the other responsibilities off to our managers and such. So we hired a young lady to come in at around 20, I believe it was 22.5, and then with the raise, 23.5. That left us with that $9,000 surplus in the raise. And we had asked to, in the interim, the court had mandated that a independent consultant come in to take a look at the infirmary. At the time, it was underneath the health department. So the independent consultant came back with a list of things to do and subsequently gave that responsibility to the sheriff's office. And with that responsibility, we hired this young man who was an RN to assume the responsibilities not only as an RN, but also as the administrator of the health department, of the Cameron County Infirmary, Jail Division Infirmary. Since then, he's done a tremendous job. When we hired him, the salary was kind of low to begin with, comparable to other facilities of our size and other responsibilities that he has. Since he came in, one of the biggest things he done, biggest responsibilities, is we were under month-to-month contracts for just about everything in the infirmary for years, going back 7, 8 years. And we tasked him with, number one, is getting us up to meet the state standards for our inmate health care. He went above and beyond that. Not only did he do that, he took our pharmacy and our inmate medical delivery system for medication, and on his own, above and beyond of what we asked him to do, and went out and negotiated along with Mike in the purchasing department with Walmart to get the $4 prescriptions that Walmart was offering to the general public. We were the first in the nation to have that applied to the inmates as well. In addition, we went out and worked with MHMR to bring in telemedicine for that application. We were taking inmates to Harlingen, 2 guards to take 1 inmate, for his treatment, and just things of that nature that he did. And since we had this surplus in that one position, we thought it prudent that we would offer that money up if the court approves to him. I think he deserves it, and that's where we stand right now.
I'd like to clarify something, and I understand what you're saying, but if we do this, you're not going to come back and then ask for that assistant administrator's position, which may mean added money?
No,
is this the management system or that you will keep?
Yes, ma'am. What we've done,
you've restructured. That's what you have done.
We restructured. Again, at the time when we were doing the Federal Detention Division, we were pretty much, working under the auspices of the Commissioner's Court. And then when the Sheriff Lucio took over, we were all consolidated again back into one. We were brought back into the fold, so to speak. And it was Lizette, the young lady who was helping me. She did a great job, a tremendous job, and I'm sorry to lose her. But I've delegated the general responsibilities. We have a person to do that, but she's only doing the personnel and the payroll and those kind of functions for 260, jail division and infirmary division persons. That's a job all in itself. All the other responsibilities we've delegated to our managers.
But Mike, if this assistant would not have left, then where would you be proposing to get the money to give this person this 13 or 14% raise?
We had asked for it in our the budget.
Well, but if you asked for it during the budget, we said no because of budgetary constraints. Now you've eliminated positions left, you reduced the salary. It's kind of trying to get that same thing accomplished, kind of coming in the back door. And we just adopted the budget. We gave everybody across the board increases. And now, I'm just concerned with the precedent that it's going to set. With any department coming in, you know what? We've got some money over here. We couldn't get this during the budgetary cycle, so we want to give this person a 10 or 12% increase in salary. Why wouldn't you take that money and spread it out to your jailers? Even if it's a couple $100. They were in the audience asking for $1,000 more that we could not do, couldn't have the budget, and we said we had a tight budget, and now you all come in and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve. I'm not saying that's not the point,
But the point is, you're selecting one individual who is doing a good job, that's what he was hired to do, expected to do a good job, and we're gonna give him you're proposing a 12 or 13% increase to that one individual. I as one have a concern with that, because you're picking one person out when you've got a whole bunch of other folks that do a good job too, but we couldn't afford to do that, so we're gonna take this one individual because somebody left, creates a vacuum, and now, well, we're gonna give this person 10 grand. I mean, something just doesn't look right to me with that.
Mike, can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
The person that was there before, were they being paid the same amount that the present director is making?
No, Commissioner. They had a nurse practitioner and a supervisor, and we have one RN now in lieu of, and then again, Dr. Garza's on board more hours than we had with the previous doctor that we had. So he's actually doing RN work and administrative work, whereas in the past you had a nurse practitioner doing the patient care work and then an LVN doing the administration of it.
So he's doing the job of two people that were doing it prior to that?
1.5, and yes, ma'am. And Judge, I agree. We've got, with this slot system that's set up, there's a lot of parity there. We have people that have been here 27 years.
Let me rephrase. There is no parity.
There is no parity. I'm sorry. I'll stand corrected. You got people with 27 years that are making entry-level salary, with someone coming entry-level clerks that are making, we don't know how to correct it. By all means, we love to make it as fair as possible, and what you just suggested is take that money and apply it to 270 people is fine with me too. I mean, that's an equitable thing. And Chief,
Well, this is a recommendation that we're making to the Commissioners Court, and it's up to the court to make a decision. We feel that this man deserves this increase. Like the jail administrator said, the duties that he has, he's doing more than one job. He's seeing patients, and he's also being an administrator.
I really don't think this is any precedent that we're setting. This has happened in the past, and it's happened under conditions to where actually someone who was relieved of a lot of duties, in fact, relieved of not having to take care of the jail infirmary and having less duties than originally had, was given a 12 or 13% pay increase not too long ago. Yet we've got someone here who's come in and taken over an operation, made it more efficient, saving $250,000 a year, and is operating it better, less expense to us, running it more efficiently, and I don't have a problem with providing this monies to that person.
I move to approve.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Benavides to approve, second by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Item 30, discussion and possible action regarding the creation of a committee to oversee the distribution of tobacco settlement funds. Pete?
Place this item on the agenda at the request of the court, at the last meeting we had last week, to create the committee to oversee the distribution of the tobacco settlement funds.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the committee? Now, what time frame are we looking at, since we really can't do anything until the beginning of the next budgetary cycle? So I guess we have at least 90 to 120 days.
Yeah, and I think we need to, are we going to set it up, a 5-member committee? That would seem
Yeah,
like
it's up for discussion for the court. I think that's what we kind of discussed last week, is that each individual member of the court would appoint a committee member.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Okay?
Now, Judge, are we talking about, did you say 5?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 5, and then our staff would automatically be on that committee, or a representation of from our...
We can add them as ex officio members, so to speak.
Either that, or we'd have to staff, that committee.
The staff would be working with the committee to create the RFPs.
So that staff is a given.
That was my question.
Move to approve.
Second.
Creating the committee of 5 to see the distribution of the tobacco sales.
Moved by Commissioner
Second.
Gasa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 31, discussion and possible
The
action.
only thing that I did not add that I should have is, when do we name it?
Well, I said we've got 90 to 120 days to do it, because it won't
Yeah,
even start till
Do it in January.
When do we what?
They have to,
next spring, so
Name the committee.
we have plenty
Well,
of
I
time to
think
do that, so we can be thinking of names.
Or whenever, I mean, if y'all want to let us
I
know
have
whenever you're
mine.
ready for an appointment, you know, we can bring it back.
Yeah, as y'all get a name, give it to Pete. When the 5 completed, then we do it. Okay? All right, item 31, discussion and possible action regarding the proposed annexation of designated area of county property south of town of South Padre Island. You want to, is that the one we want to
Yeah.
table?
yeah,
Yes.
motion to table.
Moved by
Second.
Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Benavides. Any further discussion? All
Why are
those.
we tabling it?
We're tabling it because there's been some issue regarding one of the concessionaires gave us the indication that he wanted to be annexed, and there's a letter that came out that said he did not want to be annexed, so there's some confusion. So I'm asking, I guess tabling it and have Pete go back and clarify with these concessionaires if in fact they want to be annexed or not.
So we had false representation at the previous meeting because
No, we even have a letter, you know, we included a letter, in your packet from, one of the...
There was a
individuals.
letter wanting yes, then there's another letter that said no, so
Well, I'm saying.
there
we-
seems to be
there-
some...
What I was told was that
They
the people in question here were in favor of this annexation.
Right,
And that was what I was led to believe. So were we given
And we-
wrong information?
well,
There's a letter in your packet acknowledging that at least one concessionaire, I don't know about the other ones, one concessionaire wanted to be annexed.
Right.
Then there's another letter where it was signed saying that we do not want to be annexed, we want to discuss it further, and that one concessionaire's name is on there as well. So I don't know if anybody misrepresented, I think somebody misunderstood. So I think at this point, I think it's just okay just to go back, Pete, go back and talk to these property owners, and in fact, that's what they want to do, and just bring it back at that time. Okay? All right, item 32, discussion and possible action regarding the county, state, and federal legislative agenda. David?
Judge, Commissioners, last Wednesday, we had a meeting in Hidalgo County to discuss the border wall and the levees. I think it was a very productive meeting. The judge was there with Hidalgo County judge, and they went over a few proposals, namely the proposal that's out there by the IBWC on the levy concept. And it's something that Homeland Security is looking at, considering, and hopefully will take that recommendation. Judge, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add in that regard.
Is that it?
No, let me, on your desk, we put a copy of a request for support by the Brownsville Urban System. You should have a copy. Last week, Chris Valadez, Pete, and myself met with Norma Zamora from the Brownsville Urban System. They're asking for our support before, in our federal legislation, on some legislation that will be coming up soon regarding the way transit systems are allowed to use their federal funds. I think right now there's they're not allowed to use some of their operating dollars, and they're only allowed to use some of their dollars for capital expenses and maintenance. And so they're gonna 2010, they're more than likely gonna go over the 200,000 population threshold, and so that's gonna affect their overall operating budget. And so they're asking for the support of the commission. Our recommendation is to send a letter supporting their efforts. If anybody else has any questions on that.
All they gotta do is DNX some of the areas that they're not servicing now, that we get calls about potholes on a daily basis, and they might have a lowered population in 2010.
Yeah.
I mean, they're everywhere, okay? A very aggressive annexation process has occurred. by the city of Brownsville, and they've increased their population, they continue to increase their population. You know, those are some of the areas that they need to look at also.
If you all approve, we'll put a letter together and we'll send that letter on behalf of the Brownsville urban system. And the last thing is, the Water Resources Development Act was passed both in the House and the Senate. It included the language to it did not include the language to deauthorize the Arroyo Colorado. It's waiting to go before the President for his signature, and hopefully that'll be done within the next week or so. Still waiting.
So we should be safe on that.
Yeah, should be safe. That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge Mr. Garcia's report and also authorize him to draft a letter in support of the Brownsville urban system?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Benavides, seconded by Commissioner Wood. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 33, consideration authorization to maintain TCDRS plan provisions for plan year 2008 as is. Do I hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa.
Second.
Do I have a second by Commissioner Tamayo? Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 34, consideration authorization to accept proposal from Clean Air Solutions utilizing the Texas Interlocal Purchasing Services to perform mechanical hygiene services at the Cameron County Administration Building. Pete, you recommend it?
Yes.
So
Do I hear a
moved.
motion to approve by Commissioner Benavides? Do I have a second by Commissioner Tamayo? Any further discussion?
Are we gonna do 4 floors?
4 floors, yes.
All 4 of them?
Yes.
So this-
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 35, consideration authorization to exempt from the County Purchasing Act the purchase of solid waste collection in the unincorporated area.
Well, this item needs to be tabled.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Wood. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Gatsa to table item 35. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 1 of the supplemental, consideration authorization to request a variance from the Texas Commission on Jail Standards to allow the county to design, build, and operate day rooms and dormitories with a capacity of 64 inmates. Pete, do you recommend it?
Yes, I do.
Do I have a motion by Commissioner Gatsa? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Benavides. Discussion?
Where are these going to be built?
I'm sorry?
Where are these going to be built? Within Carlos Salas Rucker?
No, right next to, this is the expansion of the Carrizales Rucker.
Okay, the extension. Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Last item of the supplemental, consideration and authorization to exempt from the County Purchasing Act the purchase of solid waste collection in the unincorporated area of the county as a health and safety item, specifically the requirements of VTCA Local Government Code Section 262.023 pursuant to the authority granted in Section 262.024A and 2. Do I hear a motion to exempt the county from the Purchasing Act?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Benavides. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Benavides. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Gatsa. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. God save this honorable court.